Well, people, what did I do this afternoon after I got through posting my first video? I watched a lot of news on polls, and I am just as dizzy and confused as I was this time last week. But I had to go through that grueling task, you see, because I'm going to do a live that night. I just haven't figured it out. I'll let you guys know only a day in advance. Sorry. Tell me what time you think is the best time. I'm Central Time here, so I'm thinking maybe 8 p.m. and we go till probably midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm figuring 4 or 5 hours. I want to go live that night. November 5th, I'll be live on French Shot Blue. That is the goal. And I do plan on getting some sleep. And man, if it goes crazy like it did 4 years ago, I don't know if I'm ready for that one. I might just tell y'all bye-bye and come back in the morning and see what happens. I guess around 6 or 7. I don't know. But I do plan on covering it. And who knows, I might go outside the next day and see how folks feel. I don't know. That might be a little edgy, but hey, that's what we do, right? We go and talk to the folks in the street. But anyway, good evening, good afternoon. My name is French Shot Pierce. Welcome to French Shot Blue. It is November 3rd of 2024, 2:15 in the p.m. How are you? And let's say it together. Let's give God some praise now, right? Praise our God from whom all blessings flow. Like I said, I'll be doing my live show that night, November 5th. And let me tell you from the start, I have been watching this trend for decades. Like I said, I've been looking at numbers since I was in my teens. And I'm willing to bet this year will be no different. The race results, I'm willing to bet that either the basketball numbers or the football numbers will reflect it. Something in the sports arena, something is going to give us some clues. I can't guarantee that I'll catch it, but I'm going to try. For those of you all who don't know, I decode. I connect dots. I take history because I know it speaks to the future. And I put them together and they give us a present. They give us the present, a literal present. I do my best to keep us up on what's going on. Marvin Gaye moment. But yeah, I bet. And why would I do that? Because I know how the powers have secretly, but not so much in this generation, but secretly, they've been doing things. And they do things by numbers and they speak. And there's going to be a lot of betting because, hey, the house always takes home the most money. So do you think they already know who's going to win this thing? Look, I got to keep it real. Do you think, look, like somebody said before, Pearson, do the lottery balls have magnets in them? Hey, I'm just throwing it out there. People have done everything they can to make this thing, I do believe, fair and square. So people, I am going to try to keep it 100 and let you know that I know mankind. If there's a possibility that he or she can hanky and panky, they're going to do it. All right? Now let's get into this. Listen to these polls and these responses. This stuff right off the wire. This particular one here, this one's from 16 hours ago. I thought it was important because this is a small one, but this one is the one that's out the most. Look at this headline. Look at this poll here.
A lot of eyebrows and is blowing up on social media over its implications. The Des Moines Register released this brand new poll from one of the most highly trusted pollsters, Ann Selzer, showing Vice President Kamala Harris leading former President Donald Trump by 3 points in that state. The poll also shows Harris leading by 20 points among women in Iowa. Now, that same pollster a month earlier had Trump leading against Harris by 4 points. Trump won the state back in 2020 by 8 points, which Selzer's poll had also showed.
Can you believe that?
Back in 2020 by 8 points, which...
Can you believe that? Trump was up then, and now they took a poll, and now she's up? Do you believe that? I really thought that Trump had momentum. I'm gonna be honest, because I try to stay neutral, but I really thought that Trump had the momentum. And I'm asking myself, what is it that's out there that's making folks run to Kamala? That is, if this poll is true. But yeah, 47-44. I'm not surprised by those numbers. 44 like Barack Obama allegedly, and 47 as in the new president. Hello. Let's go forward here.
Is a toss-up, right? But about a week ago, we had Arizona lean Republican, so we gave it that little rosé red color there. I don't know what's going on in Iowa, Dana, right? I mean, we've got a likely Republican. You know, Trump won at 9 points in 2016, won at 8 points in 2020, so we'll see how that goes. Here's another thing to look at, all right? You know, this is New York Times from overnight, okay? These are all the swing states. Everything's super close as best as we can tell. Look, someone's going to be right, someone is going to be wrong. That's just what it comes down to. They've got Trump ahead in Arizona. They've got her up a point in Georgia. They got a dead tie in Michigan. They got Carolina Harris leading there by 2. They got Harris up 3 in Nevada, but if you look at some of the early voting in Nevada, Republicans have done a very good job of turning out their voters. In fact, they've got a lead right there by about almost 5 points right now in the early voting in Nevada. Pennsylvania, flat out tie right there. I'll come back to that in a moment. And they've got Wisconsin up too. So what do we know? James Blair might know a few things, but
So, what do you think?
it's as best as we can tell.
49-47. Man, I'm telling you, and this one's only an hour old, people. Like I said, I watch so much news, I'm like, you know what? I do a video about every 4 hours. Let's do it, Pearson. Let's do it. And hey, all I can tell you is that this is what these people do professionally. This is what they do. And I try to put myself in the frame of mind of, okay, Pearson, everything is legit. Look at it for what it is. If we look at it for what it is, she's leading again. If I could scream right about now, I'm saying, how can I just don't think that she had that swing. I just don't, because there was a mountain to climb in relation to what happened 2 weeks ago, right? Pointing out the migrant issue. And Chicago, for example, you know, the migrant issue is big talk. 600 million being spent on them. And whatever that number is, don't quote me. X that last statement. I forgot. So dizzy with the numbers, but a big portion of money spent on the migrants here in Chicago. And the point being is that people are up in arms, especially black folks, because the money should be going to our communities. But let me add to this. Our mayor is asking for 300. He's asking for a property tax, and he needs millions of dollars. Okay, let me see. Put that number. Mayor Chicago needs $300 million. Let me put it up in here. Mayor Chicago. Mayor of Chicago needs $300 million Yeah. He needs 300 million people. To me, this sets the climate for the last week. This just happened 4 days ago here in Chicago. Like I said, I get stupefied on these numbers because that's what I do for a living. But every now and then I get mentally fatigued on these numbers, but I'm glad I could pull it up. We need $300 million to make up this budget gap here in Chicago. But I do believe it was $600 million that was spent on migrants the last couple of years here in Chicago. So what I'm saying is that these numbers should translate into votes for Trump. Come on, man. That's all I'm saying. How is she ahead? Think about what I'm asking here. Now let's go with this poll. Let's go with this news piece here.
NBC's Dasha Burns is in Greensboro, where the former president held a rally last night. And Dasha, you just spoke with the former president this morning. What did he tell you? Yeah, Kristen, good morning. That's right. I just got off the phone with the former president moments ago. I asked him about that stunning new Des Moines Register poll showing Harris leading in typically red Iowa. He told me the poll is, quote, fake, and called the pollster Ann Seltzer a, quote, Trump hater, though he has called her a talented pollster in the past, and praised that very same poll earlier this year when it showed him leading big in the Iowa caucuses. Experts widely see that poll as reputable. I also asked the former president about the gender gap that's been defining this election. I asked what is his message to women who are thinking about voting for Vice President Harris. He said, quote, you're voting for the wrong person and will end up in a depression, and you're not going to be safe. Now, the former president has largely leaned into talking points and platforms that cater to male voters. His closing message for women has been focused mostly on...
So my question is to you and women. Let's talk to the women for a second. Sorry, fellas, but women, has Trump convinced you over the last few months that he's the best candidate? Yes, no, why not? And I have 5 simple words to people in general here. Do you believe the polls? Do you believe these polls? Not just the ones I'm showing you here, but the ones in your neck of the woods. Do you believe the polls? And I'm not saying that anything's done negative or something nefarious is going on. Do you think that it really reflects where you live at? In other words, the just spin of the draw, so to speak, they interviewed, let's say, 1,000 people, but that's those 1,000 people. If they had interviewed another 1,000 people, it'd be a difference in the number. What do you think? And tell me why. But again, women, because this woman issue has been, to me, it's a hot button thing here, in that the gender thing. At least that's what the news is saying. And I want to know, has Trump done enough in the last 2 months? He's got Tulsi Gabbard. Got a few other ladies out there stumping for him. Has that made a difference to you? And again, why not? Now let me show you this final video, because I played this once before. And, oh no, this is not the one. Let me see here. Did I bring that up? Oh yeah, there it is there. Let me play this one, then I got one more for you. Check this out.
I mean, it is as close as ever.
Yeah, good morning, Janae. Our ABC News Ipsos poll has Kamala Harris just out this morning in 49-46 lead over Donald Trump. That's just a tick tighter than last week when we had the lead at 4 points, but it's all well within the margin of error. And narrowing into the 7 battleground states, guess what? Nothing changes. An identical lead, 49-46 across the 7 battlegrounds. But inside the individual battlegrounds, we still see a little bit of a different story. These are our 538 polling averages. Harris leading in Michigan and Wisconsin, but by less than a percentage point. Right now, trailing narrowly in the polling averages everywhere else, including Arizona. That's 2.5 points. But again, all of this is within any polling margin of error. And there's new polls even out this morning that would suggest a tighter race, even if that's possible here. And there are signs of discontent everywhere, particularly among voters for Donald Trump. But among all voters, 74% say that the country is on the wrong track going into Election Day. That includes half of Harris supporters, and wait for it, 98% of Trump voters say we are on the wrong track as a country.
And this is what I thought would be maintained. If you agree, put in the comment section. This is what I thought the deal breaker was. Let me go back to that. This is what I thought was the biggest thing that Harris could not overcome within the last 6 weeks or even a month. I just didn't think this is the mountain that I feel, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. How can she come up around the turn and into the finish line, and this horse wins the Kentucky Derby? How is it that she was ahead in what I was showing you? And I really think what it's going to come down to, because the economic numbers just came out, they didn't look too hot. I think people are going to vote their pocketbook. I think when it's all said and done, a wedge issue is minor in comparison to the big three: inflation, migration, crime. Those are the big three. Might be healthcare, might be on the same, whatever, but inflation, migration, lawlessness. Lawlessness is law and order. Who stands for that? Look, who did not stand for it 4 years ago under George Floyd? Let's keep it real, because I don't get into it enough when it came down to Tim Walz. But look at what Tim Walz in Minnesota arguably did not do. Let's look at VP, who's on the coattails of Harris. Let's look at what Tim Walz did not do in Minnesota alone. And in general, what the Democratic states, these governors and mayors, did not do during that period. The law and order stunk, and it stunk since then. It's stinking since then. Same thing goes for the economy, people. And same thing goes for war. You are not going to make me believe, that this hill, this person right here, is going to be able to climb this hill and beat him when her and Joe basically have already beaten themselves. That's my point. Make me believe otherwise. If everything's on the up and up, it is impossible. This is what I have been seeing. People are voting their pocketbook. And to me, they can't help but do it because they have a daily, weekly, and monthly reminder of their bills. And war is always in the news, and immigration is always in the news. She ain't got much to stand on. Tim Walz ain't got much to stand on. You can't tell me joy is gonna do it. You can't sell me joy when I'm broke. You took my joy. I'm Friendship Pearson. This is Friendship Blue. Tell me what you think. And I know some people here, they're not Christian. What do you think about these so-called bets on the side? Do you think the numbers from November 5th will reflect a basketball game? it is basketball season, and or will it reflect a football game, or even both? And it don't have to necessarily be a number. It could be a person. There might be some state that's going to eke it out. Those of you all who are my age, I want you to think way back in the day, when Al Gore and George Bush was running. What happened at the end? It was Florida, was it not? Florida was the difference. And who was the governor of Florida at the time? Florida. Jeb Bush, George Bush's brother. So people, you got to think in retrospect. You got to think historical. You got to think which state or states could be the difference in this whole thing. Will it be Atlanta, like Georgia? Will it be Georgia? Will it be Pennsylvania? Will it be Wisconsin? I'm willing to bet it's going to be 3 that are going to make the difference. And I'll go out on this. We might get a New York surprise. We very well could get a New York surprise. I would not be surprised if Trump wins New York. I would not be surprised. All right, people, I'm out. God bless.